so continue to place your focus on your heart. And when you do that, it keeps you present, which means that everything else is secondary to your thought, secondary to all the problems you have. You are now focused in the area of the heart, remaining present, giving yourself the permission to make this all about you in this moment and in this time. So honor your heart, acknowledge your heart, place your hand on your heart if that feels right to you. And just take those slow, deep breaths. And place your awareness in the area of the heart, and the awareness that when you breathe, that this breath is flowing in and out of your heart. This simple step and process is a powerful elixir for your autonomic nervous system. Slow, deep breaths. Be gentle with yourself as you take these deep breaths in. Just allow the gentle flowing in and out of your heart. Be sure to take deep breaths. See if you can take the breaths a little deeper, just a little deeper than you normally would. Let's go past that edge. The oxygen has to travel all the way, the nether regions of your body, and every cell in your body just loves getting fresh oxygen. And this is how you send fresh oxygen. Take that breath just a little deeper today. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And today's I didn't know that moment concerns the energy field and cancer cells. And this is an interesting topic. And what's more interesting is about a gentleman called Harold Burr. I wanted to introduce you to this gentleman. who discovered something very interesting in 1937. So, scientific community has had much information about what I'm about to share with you. This particular quote that you see on your screen, and if you are on your phone, I'll read it to you. It says in this from a peer-reviewed journal. That means that when this particular professor researcher from Yale University School of Medicine actually published this, it was reviewed by his peers who were not connected to the research. They reviewed the scientific merits of what he was saying, and they allowed it to get published, which means that they felt that this particular hypothesis or his experimental findings were credible. So this is from peer-reviewed journal Subtle Energies and Energy Medicine 2007, and it was written by a master's somebody with a master's degree. He said that in 1937, Harold Sexton Burr, a professor of anatomy at Yale University School of Medicine, began a series of experiments that sought to measure and characterize the biomagnetic field associated with living organisms. Now, this was his introduction to the paper that he wrote about Harold Burr's scientific experiments. What Harold did is back in the 30s, he took two sets of laboratory rats. Well, in one set, he genetically modified their cells so that they could never catch cancer. In the other batch, which were similar rats, he genetically modified them by predisposing it to cancer. And so what he did was he took an electromagnetic measurements. Now we talk about this from a heart math perspective. When we're doing this work that we're doing here for the past 2 years. If you've been around with me that long, we've been doing this work for a while. But in this experiment, he was measuring the electromagnetic fields of rats. So when he measured the electromagnetic fields of the rats that were not predisposed to cancer, he measured those fields, and then he measured the fields of rats that were predisposed to cancer. And at one point, he measured a change in the electromagnetic field around the area of cancer. Here's the interesting part, that the change in electric field around around the mice that had cancer, the cancer hadn't manifested itself yet. The field actually preceded in time the cancer manifestation. So in other words, if there's a disease in the mouse's body, the energy field will detect it, will change into an incoherent pattern. When we talk about coherence, we're talking about a pattern where your body is working, with efficiency, and it's working to repair and rejuvenate all cells so that disease cannot exist. An incoherent pattern is where things are messed up, and that it's primed for disease to creep in. In this particular case, what he found out was the field around the mice in the area where the cancer was not there yet, but developed later in the area, the field had an incoherent pattern. And here's his conclusion as written in this paper. According to Burr, the original scientist who did this research, he stated electromagnetic properties are the organizing principle that kept living tissue from falling into a chaotic state. And let us just look at this a little closer and see how it applies to each and every one of us. You see, interesting part here is that if we've got disease in our cells, in our bodies, that disease will only appear after the electric field around that area is not coherent. So when you sense an electric field around your body that's not coherent, it will eventually manifest a disease in that area. This has been around since the 1930s, this research. And so scientists are, largely ignoring energy medicine. They're more into dealing with chemicals. And what they're doing is, if they see a cancer growth, they're going after the cancer cell, and they're not really paying attention to the energy around the cancer cells. And of course, we know from this work that we do that when we take those deep breaths in and when we activate a regenerative emotion, that field actually rearranges itself. It becomes more coherent. And if you go deeper and deeper into that process, then your systems, you will get to a situation where you're no longer holding on to the energy fields in your body. We're going to go a little deeper into this on February 24th. For those of you who are Ignite Series members, we're going to actually take one layer deeper or 2 layers deeper in a 1-hour webinar where we will talk about how you influence the energy field governing your body. This is something that everybody should be aware of, should know, because this connects directly to your life and how you thrive. The energy field, if it's there right now, that's in an incoherent pattern in your body, you will catch that disease unless you head it off and clear that energy field. Now, there's no magic to clearing that field. It's a simple concept. It's so simple you may not even believe it, that it works, and that belief system will keep you away from feeling that. So we will unpack all of that when I have a little bit more time. So let us now begin use the tool that I talk about all the time. This is one of the steps, a very important step in clearing the energy fields around your body to keep the diseases at bay. So let us do the same steps before, but we're going to add something that will facilitate a coherent pattern in your energy field. So place awareness in the area of the heart and take slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart, breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. And just experience a regenerative emotion. Dive deep into the feeling of something that you can recall and that makes you feel alive, joyous, feels gratitude. And if you're feeling it now, I want you to go into your heart and ask Spirit, can I feel a little more? Can I open up the taps a little more? We know that there is no boundary for joy. It's limitless. So why are we limiting ourselves with the joy that we feel now? Reach for something more deeper, more intense, more elevated. Ask Spirit, I want to feel a more elevated emotion of joy. Can you show me? Just a little more. Now's the time. Let's do this. You're telling the Spirit, I want to live. I am joyous. I was meant to be here. Just raise that vibration of yours and clear out your energy fields. And keep doing this over and over again. There's no need to live in status quo. There's no need to carry this disease with you or the symptoms of the disease with you. So just experience joy and know that joy creates a coherent pattern in your energy field. And the higher the intensity of your emotions, the more powerful the reprogramming of your energy field will be. So if you're just sitting there as a mouse, it's not going to happen. Go for that elevated emotion. And if that emotion begins with a sense of courage, that you are going to reach for it, go for it, then summon up courage before you summon up joy. If it takes you courage to shed a tear, then that's the courage emotion that you want to go for first. So just ask for it. Don't step back. This is your birthright. There's no need to step back. Just feel. And every day, push yourself a little bit more. So when we are here next Monday, I want you to feel more intensity emotions than you have today. And I want you to push yourself every day to feel more. We have work to do. So let us do it. Excellent. This has been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful 15 minutes spent with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask. I'm happy to stick around for a few more minutes. And if not, then I'll see you next week. Let me just go see if there's something there. Yes, good morning, Lou and Will. Thank you so much for joining me today. Good morning to all of you. I know you're here from different parts of the world, and I truly appreciate you joining me and your energy field I've received, and everybody's received everyone else's energy. So today we helped each other heal. So thank you so much for doing this. I much appreciate it. Thank you, Anne. You are so beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. No, you are beautiful. You are just seeing yourself in me, and I honor you for that. Thank you so very much. Loretta, you're welcome. Lou and Will, enjoyed this time together very much, as I always do with all of you. Thank you so much. And remember, next week I want you to bring your A game and elevate your emotions and walk like a master that you are.